But right now, I think that we've gotten ourselves some very fast seed growth. Because, I mean, look at that. This is just the fastest seed growth you've ever seen. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Some more All the Mods 11 today. We're kind of going to be doing a redo of what I did in the last video I recorded that I honestly don't think we're going to use because it was a disaster. So we're doing mystical agriculture today because we were trying to do that yesterday. But I was on a bit of a time crunch, you see, because I thought what was going to happen was I was going to have a big old storm come in that was going to take out my power. But in the end, that didn't happen. And everything I did in the last time trying to figure this out was a complete disaster. You want to see everything I did? It's this block right here. This block and this seed. That was about it. So this block is literally just a farmer. It's not even that expensive. Like, I'm pretty sure it should be over in this. Yeah, look at that. It's just getting some solium, which I get from the mining dimension. I just need to go to a pair of unloaded chunks to get all the mystical agriculture stuff because I started my world early, right? And so that way I was able to get that. I was able to get all the prosperity stuff, able to make diamond stuff, able to make this thing. It was all incredibly easy. And then we make this. And then look at these seeds. It's just inferium, which we also get from an ores and killing things, and wheat seeds, which, oh, wheat seeds, those must have some big old process that took the rest of the video, right? No, we just break grass. So the only other thing you'll note is that I made the different crystals to help advance my levels because they added this mod which adds tiered crystals. I need to be able to get all the way up to the maximum tier of essence if I want to be able to use it for different purposes. That's the only other thing of note. So then, how do we actually want to farm these seeds to where they're gonna be easy to get really started today? Well, there's a block called the growth accelerator from AE2. It's very simple for me to get, but I haven't started this mod at all yet, so we're gonna need to go through it a little bit. Firstly, to start that, we're gonna need to start the bare bones of applied energetics. We need to find a meteorite. Normally you'd make a meteorite compass, which would just be charging a normal compass with a charger, which is easy to get. I'm gonna need to make one of those anyways, but we don't need the meteorite compass because I have this explorer's compass, which helps me find structures. That meteorite was closer before. There was supposed to be one that... okay, I was told there was gonna be one this way, or like some other area off this way. Why is there more of them? Why are there more? There's still the ones that are in my boat. Like, oh my gosh, okay. Meteorite. Like, is this really just what we're dealing with now? Okay, I guess this is what we're dealing with now. Let's go 1,500 blocks this way. Actually, wait. Neither of those ones are close enough to it because both those are underground. Fine. And it's raining.
Later.
Alrighty, so we're here, but we don't see the meteor. Why is that? Well, because apparently they added a little mod into this mod pack that's supposedly supposed to conceal the meteorite. So we're just gonna move to where I know for a fact I'm gonna be over it. Well, I say I know for a fact, but we all know how that tends to go. So let's just go ahead and then break down around here and then just keep on looking a little bit because there should be a meteor, right? Like, it should be here somewhere.
20 minutes later.
Okay, I looked everywhere over there. There is not a meteor right there. So what I'm gonna need to do is I'm just gonna go ahead and make a normal compass. And then we're gonna go ahead and make ourselves our meteorite compass. So we're gonna need to grab a charger. It's just some iron and some copper. It's very, very easy for me to get. I can go ahead and plop that on my power exporter. And we just plop this in here. And there we go. We got ourselves a meteorite compass. So we're gonna go off in this direction. And we're gonna hopefully find ourselves an actual meteorite with the actual mod. Because the explorer's compass, it's wrong. It doesn't work. It just flat out does not work with the meteorites. I don't know about how much else it really works with because I've had flaws with it before. So I don't want to deal with that no more.
Much later.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Right there. Right smack there, I see it. Yep, and then the compass starts spinning. Right here in the open water, we have found ourselves a meteorite. Alrighty, so what we now need to do is we just need to break this baby open, and here we go. Now, this thing right here is called a mysterious cube. We break that, and then we get some different things from applied energetics. I don't need these at the moment. And also, it looks like I'm missing one. Oh, wait, no, I'm not. Okay. I thought I only had 3. I had 4. Okay. I don't need that at the moment, though. That's not a problem. What we really need, though, is this. The budding Certus quartz. So we can go ahead and then just block all of this off. So that way we can go ahead and get ourselves some air back in here. I guess that is unless the air pockets were always fake. That's fine. Okay then, so now I need something. I need this thing here called the cut paste gadget. I need these things here called shears so I can make this thing here the cut paste gadget. All right, so we should be able to take this thing out now. And now we're putting in some power. Now, what we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna wanna go ahead and grab this thing here and then this thing here, and then now we got all of that ready. So let's go ahead and press G, and then what we want to do is we want to go ahead and press cut. So there we go. Now that is completely gone. We can go ahead and take all of this with me, and I guess I can go ahead and take the Sky Stone. I'm probably gonna need that for something else later on. Considering that this mod pack is still in early development, I'm probably gonna need to do some things with AE2 for the questing purposes once those finally get added. So, you know, we're just gonna go ahead and stock up on a good bit of those. And I'm pretty sure there was someone throwing tridents at me, but we're not gonna worry about that. We're just gonna head straight home. Okay, so now I got these. What we can go ahead and do is we can just go ahead and then paste them right into here. That breaks the carpet, but you know what, that's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and clear all of this out. So now what these things are gonna do is they're gonna start slowly growing out our Certus quartz. However, what we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna wanna spread these guys out a bit to maximize the efficiency of this.
A few moments later.
All right, so I've laced them all out here in this little area. I tried to make it look as like decent as I possibly could while also being efficient with it. And I think having them in the corners and then this big one in the center, I think it's definitely good. I won't be able to like, you know, automatically take all of them out at once, but this is relatively fine. So once these things are done growing, we will then be able to get ourselves some Certus quartz crystals. If I want to get myself the quartz crystal seeds, so that way I can grow these guys like a little bit faster, I'm gonna need to get a few things. So I believe for the Certus quartz seeds, yeah, I only need 4 of them. So I'll just need 4 of these guys to grow. So that should happen in their own time. All that's really left for me to do now is just wait for these guys to grow up a little bit so that way I can get that. And also to get some of the other things that we're gonna need to make the seeds. So I already have the tertium essence because again, in the last video, that's now no longer going to be shown. I did progress a little bit with the essences. Turns out getting the essences from the mining dimension where I was mining was faster than that nonsense I was trying to do. So I managed to get myself a good bit of that, so that's fine. Other than that, I think we just need to get ourselves the infusion altar, which is just the, well, it's just a bunch of stone, gold, and red wool. It's very easy. We only need 5 of the red wool, so just getting 5 red dye and then 5 wool is all we really need for that, because then we're just gonna need to make ourselves 4 of these infusion pedestals and then 1 infusion altar. And then that is pretty much everything. And then one last thing that we're gonna need for this to work is a lever. After that, it's pretty much easy. I just need to find a dedicated place to put this. I'm gonna put it above ground, just that way we can actually have that working. But let's go ahead and put this near where I'm gonna be farming. So it's gonna be out here in this little field. So we can go ahead and put this here and that should work. And then yeah, I'll show. Okay, so I may have divided what I needed in half. I need 4 more of those, but that's fine. Okay, there we go. So now we got ourselves the other 4. That was a bit of a mistake, but then we can just go ahead and put the lever there. And then this thing is redstone activated, so as long as we have that thing on, everything should be fine. So I think we really just need to wait for the Certus quartz to grow.
Much later.
Okay, so we finally got ourselves 1 Certus quartz cluster at full growth. If I tried to break them before they're fully grown, it won't actually drop Certus quartz, it'll just drop the dust, which we don't want. So to try to maximize on this, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this thing here called the Vengeance Pickaxe. It'll come with an innate Fortune 5, hoping that Fortune affects this. If it doesn't affect this, then I'm in deep, dude. Oh, I think I just summoned a Vengeance Spirit also, because that sounds cursed. Okay, but yeah, no. This thing has a Curse of Vengeance, which has a strong chance of summoning a Vengeance Spirit. So we're just gonna go ahead and put that away, but here we go. Now we've gotten ourselves more than enough Certus quartz to be able to make the Certus quartz seeds. That is very good. So what we're going to need to do to be able to make the Certus Quartz seeds is we're just going to need 4 of these, right? We're also going to need to grab ourselves 4 Tertium Essence. The only thing after that is Prosperity Seeds, which is just wheat seeds and Prosperity Shards. It is all very, very simple to get. So now with all of these components together, we should be able to start growing ourselves some Certus Quartz at a much faster rate than those guys. Now, you might be wondering, but don't you not have the speedy things yet? Isn't that why you're doing this at all? And to that I say yes, but okay, you're interrupting my thing here. I'm gonna need you to go away. Who's still shooting me? You. Okay. We'll go ahead and adjust the nighttime in a second. But once we go and put all these down, I have particles off, don't I? Yep, I got all particles off. Okay, so then let's go ahead and turn those back on because this is actually really cool looking. Well, it was only short-lived, but there we go. Now we got ourselves our Certus Quartz seeds. So what we would now need to do is we would just need to go ahead and then put these on some farmland. So if I just go ahead and grab myself Imperium farmland, that should be good. We can go ahead and put that down, and there we go. Now we're going to start growing ourselves our Certus Quartz. As I was trying to say, though, we don't have our speed up things yet. That's what we were trying to get, was the growth accelerator. So how are we going to speed this thing up already? Well, there's a manual way to do that, which is with this thing here called the watering can. All we're going to need is just grab ourselves a bowl, some bone meal, which is also very easy for me to get, and then we can make ourselves the watering can. We can then go ahead and then increase this thing in power by then making an Inferium watering can, which is just get ourselves some Inferium ingots, which I made off screen in the last video, which is not gonna exist. So we just need to make ourselves some Prosperity ingots, then mix that with some Inferium. And we're gonna need this thing called Mystical Fertilizer, which is just gonna take some Inferium, a diamond, and then also some more bone meal. This thing is basically a bone meal for mystical agriculture crops because otherwise it won't work. So there we go. Now I got this. Then I can just go ahead and fill this baby up, and then we can just go ahead and start growing. I do believe I need it to be daytime though, so let's go fix that real quick. Okay, so now that it's daytime, we can go ahead and shift right click in the sky, and then I believe this should make it start automatically working when I'm looking down. Yeah, but for some reason it doesn't seem to work when I do that. That's weird. Okay, so I guess I just have to hold right click then, but already we can see that it is growing up very, very fastly. And I've also got this on Imperium farmland, which is just mixing farmland with some Imperium essence. So this is good. And yeah, you can see this is already growing very, very fastly. So once this is done, since it's also on Imperium, I think this might increase the output. That could also just be for Inferium seeds though. I don't know. All I know is that this affects it in some way, shape, or form. It was growing so fast a second ago, and then now it's just stopped. Why, game? Why you do this to me? There it is. The Certus Quartz seed, all fully grown. So now I can go ahead and break this. Well, right-click it. And then we get ourselves 1 Certus Quartz essence. That's not a lot, but you know what? It's mostly fine. So I would need 8 Certus Quartz to be able to then get ourselves an actual Certus Quartz. Fortunately, I already have 2 Certus Quartz crystals from my mining earlier, which is actually also enough for me to be able to get the next thing I'm going to need, which is going to be the Fluix. Because to make Fluix, we need a charged Certus Quartz, and then that'll get us 2 Fluix crystals when we make that. So since I'm gonna need 4 to get the Fluix seeds, I've already got enough. I just need to go ahead and throw these guys into the charger over here. So now after charging the Certus Quartz, we just need to throw this in water with redstone and nether quartz, making sure not to be too close with it, and also having taken my magnet off so that way I don't absorb the stuff. So that way we then get ourselves our Fluix crystals. Ah, that is beautiful. Alrighty, so after that, it's the same story as with the other one. It's just this one's gonna need Imperium, so I'm just gonna need to upgrade it a little bit. It's not too difficult, and then we're just gonna need to grow a bunch of those. So that way we can then start getting ourselves blocks of this stuff. So I'll come back once I should hopefully have enough of the seeds. Oh, and just so that way you can all see this better because I kind of glossed over it before. Yep, that's the particles. Oh, it looks so cool. And yep, there we go. That's the crafting of a seed.
Much later.
Okay, well, I also remembered that these things had still been growing while I was trying to grow the plants. So even though those plants are technically going to be faster, these things by the sheer volume and still going at the same time help this go by way, way faster. So W to the quartz clusters, I guess. So now that we've gotten all of these, we've almost gotten everything we really need. We're just going to need to turn these guys into their respective blocks. That way we can go ahead and make the first thing, which is this crystal resonance generator, which, if I remember correctly, it's just going to passively generate power on its own. I could be entirely wrong about this, but then after that, we're just going to need a couple things. We're going to need a little bit more. Okay, so now I've gotten myself the fluix, that way I can make the cable. Then we're just gonna need this quartz fiber, which literally all we need for this is just some quartz dust. So we can go ahead and break down these budding quartz that I was mentioning before. Well, not the budding quartz themselves, but the prepubescent, for lack of a better term, quartz buds. So that way we can go ahead and then get everything we should need for those. I think that should be enough, but we'll go ahead and collect just a little bit more just to be safe. So there we go, now I got those. Then I believe I just need lots of glass. And while my glass is smelting, I want y'all to look at this. Right now, this is normal furnace speed. Look at that. So much faster. So even though the off-screen stuff that's not gonna be on video anymore ended up being a bust, this upgrade and my decision to make this mystical agriculture furnace, that was definitely a win, because the smelting recipes I had for my autocrafting were taking way too long. So there we go. Now we've gotten ourselves our glass, so we can go and make ourselves some quartz glass for one thing, and then we can go ahead and make ourselves our quartz fibers, so that way we can then go ahead and make ourselves our quartz cables. So then, moment of truth, we can go ahead and make ourselves our growth accelerator. There we go. I technically have enough to be able to make 2 of these, except for the what's it called, the fluix, but that is fine. So now what we can go ahead and do is we're gonna go ahead and start the chain. And since the essence farmland didn't seem to affect this too much, we're not gonna touch that. So there we go. We'll go ahead and put that baby right there. Just give this thing a little bit of water, and that should be good. Now what we can go ahead and do is we can just put this growth accelerator right here, and then put a crystal resonator on top of it. Now it's powered. Now this thing is online. So I believe they should be, yeah, look at that. They're already grown. Dude, okay, so this is just with one of these, mind you. What's gonna now happen is I'm gonna get more of these crystal growth resonators and growth accelerators, and I'm gonna do a whole checkered board pattern around the whole place. I'm gonna go ahead and then get myself some more crops with this. I'm gonna go ahead and get myself the inferium seeds, so that way we can go ahead and then have those things start growing as well. And then I'm gonna get myself more of these, and we should be able to have ourselves a good little start to this farm that's eventually going to encompass this whole area and be completely mystical agriculture happy.
5 minutes later.
Alrighty, I got all 4 of the resonators down, and while I was actually farming up some of the inferium, I actually managed to get another seed from the harvest, so that's good. And like, look at that. Look at how fast they're already growing, and that's just with 2 touching each crop at a time. As for how I'm gonna auto farm these guys, like auto harvesting the seeds from each of their places, I don't actually know how I'm gonna do that. A clicker from Just Dire Things, an advanced clicker, might be the way to go. Because what that thing will do is I can change it to right click, because I can right click the seeds to harvest them. And then I can configure this to be in a wide area. Alternatively, there could just be straight harvesters, like, yeah, the harvester pylon. I could possibly do something with that, or the harvester from this guy. It has an area of 3x3 though, so that might not be good. Although I think I can upgrade that. So there's definitely a few things I can do in terms of that. I don't know how I'm gonna do it at the moment, but for right now, I think that we've gotten ourselves some very fast seed growth. Because I mean, look at that. Like, this is just the fastest seed growth you've ever seen. Like, even with all the lily pads of fertility that I had back in All the Mods 9, this might end up being faster than that when I really get this going. Even already, like, they grew instantly before, but it took like 9 lily pads of fertility for it to get there. Like, it took a bunch. This is just with 2 of these guys at a time. So yeah, this is gonna get very insane. Now, I didn't actually explain the crystal resonance generators, why I need each of these. Like, why not just hook it up to my main power source? Well, the simple reason for that is it would be kind of a waste. Because we can see what these guys do with just their little bit of power. It does not take much power for these guys to function. So just by having each of these guys go, because I can only have one of them per network, so each of these technically counts as their own AE2 network, it all works well enough on its own. And like, look at that. We've already gotten so much Fluix Essence. So did you like this video? Good. Then be sure to check out our last All the Mods 11 video where we got into refined storage for exclusively auto crafting. Bye-bye!